There's no such thing as vampires.
Welcome to the review. Today I'm taking you back to the year 2007 with a countdown of 10 short-lived TV shows that didn't quite make the cut. Leave a comment below with which one of these you remember, which ones deserved a longer run, and which ones should have never been made. Number 10, Tell Me You Love Me.
But every couple I know that stops having sex ends up hating each other. I don't hate Dave.
Tell Me You Love Me centered on three very different couples, all seeking guidance from therapist Dr. May Foster as they struggle with intimacy, trust, and commitment. Unlike most relationship dramas, this series didn't shy away from discomfort, emotional or physical. Katie and Dave appear to be a stable couple in their 40s with 2 young children, but their marriage has grown distant and sexless. Carolyn and Balak are ambitious 30-somethings, desperate to have a baby, only to find out the pressure's slowly tearing them apart. And then there's Jamie and Hugo, a young, engaged couple wrestling with doubts about fidelity before they even make it to the altar.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but whatever does, I'll deal with it. Just because I'm getting married doesn't mean my life's gonna stop.
Does Jamie know that?
Even Dr. Foster herself isn't immune to dealing with her own failing marriage to her husband Arthur. The series was created by Cynthia Mort, who previously wrote for Roseanne and Will and Grace, and featured a strong cast that included Jane Alexander, Luke Kirby, Adam Scott, and Sonia Walger. Premiering on September 9th on HBO, Tell Me You Love Me ran for just 1 season of 10 episodes. Critics praised the show heavily, with some calling it more provocative than anything airing on broadcast TV, and even more sophisticated than many shows that claim to be adult dramas. HBO actually renewed the series for a 2nd season in October of 2007, suggesting confidence in the concept, but behind the scenes things fell apart. By July 2008, the network canceled the show, after Mort and HBO admitted they were unable to find the direction of the show for a 2nd season. Highly praised, boldly executed, and still unable to move forward. A fitting start to 2007's list of short-lived drama experiments. Number 9, The Dresden Files. Based on the popular fantasy book series by Jim Butcher, The Dresden Files followed private investigator Harry Dresden, a practicing wizard operating openly in modern-day Chicago.
You're a wizard, right?
I don't do parties and I don't teach magic.
Portrayed by Paul Blackthorne, Dresden took on cases involving supernatural disturbances that the police couldn't or wouldn't touch.
What's up?
Female, deceased, completely skinned. I mean, completely.
In 2005, the Sci-Fi Channel optioned The Dresden Files as a 2-hour TV movie and backdoor pilot, with Nicolas Cage attached as the executive producer. The project officially premiered on January 21, 2007, and ran for 12 episodes before being canceled. Almost immediately, fans of the novels voiced disappointment, citing major departures from the source material. Changes to the characters, lore, and tone caused friction with longtime readers who were hoping for a more faithful adaptation. Jim Butcher himself addressed the backlash in a forum post, explaining that the show was never intended to be a direct translation of the books. He emphasized that the series existed in an alternate world, one that shared the same general mythology but didn't follow the novels chapter by chapter or even story by story. Butcher went on to say that viewers expecting a straight adaptation were bound to be disappointed. Ironically, those who approached the series without a strong attachment to the books often found a lot to like. Free from comparison, many viewers embraced the show's noir fantasy vibe, and today, The Dresden Files is frequently remembered as yet another genre series canceled before it had a real chance to grow. Number 8, Women's Murder Club. Based on the best-selling book series by James Patterson, Women's Murder Club centered on 4 women in San Francisco, a homicide detective, an assistant district attorney, a medical examiner, and a newspaper reporter, who combined their professional skills to solve complex murder cases. Despite their very different careers and personal lives, the women were united by a strong bond of friendship. As the series progressed, they discovered that pooling their expertise often revealed clues that traditional investigations missed, while also helping them navigate challenges in their own lives.
Do you three have some sort of thing?
We're friends. We share information.
What, like a club?
No.
The series starred Angie Harmon, Laura Harris, Paula Newsome, Aubrey Dollar, Tyrese Allen, and Rob Estes. Women's Murder Club premiered on October 12, 2007 on ABC and opened strong, pulling in 10.8 million viewers. It won its time slot, outperforming both Friday Night Lights and the MLB ALCS. Ratings remained solid throughout its run, making its cancellation after just one season particularly frustrating for fans. The primary reason cited was the 2007 writer's strike, which halted production and stalled the show's momentum at a critical point. In an odd but telling footnote to its brief life, Nintendo released a Nintendo DS role-playing game based on the series in 2009, cementing Women's Murder Club as a show that clearly had more planned, but never got the chance to deliver. Number 7, The Black Donnellys. Created by Academy Award-winning writers Paul Haggis and Robert Moresco, the Black Donnellys took its name from the infamous Donnelly family of the 19th century Ontario, a real-life clan involved in a brutal feud that ended in a home invasion and massacre. Haggis grew up in London, Ontario, where the Donnelly story is local legend, and he promised to incorporate elements of that history into the series. Set in present-day New York City's Hell's Kitchen, the show followed 4 Roman Catholic Irish-American brothers as they became entangled in both petty crime and the Irish mob. At its core, the series explored themes of family, loyalty, identity, and survival, drawing heavily from Irish-American history. The pilot established a clear and volatile rivalry between Irish and Italian crime factions, immediately setting the tone for the series' gritty, character-driven approach.
So, anybody got any idea how to get $4,000?
You hear what Bobby O and J.J. McGrain did? They stole an Italian, held him for ransom.
The Black Donnellys premiered on February 26, 2007 on NBC, airing after Heroes and going head-to-head with CSI Miami. The pilot drew 7.9 million viewers, but ratings declined week to week, eventually bottoming out at 5.3 million viewers. NBC canceled the series after airing just 6 of its 13 episodes. However, in a rare move at the time, the remaining unaired episodes were made available on the NBC website and iTunes, allowing fans to see the full story unfold. Critics largely praised the cast and especially the pilot episode, and over the years the show has developed a strong cult following. Many viewers still point to the Black Donnellys as a prime example of a series canceled before it was given enough time to find its audience. Number 6, Hidden Palms. Hidden Palms centered on Johnny Miller, a once well-adjusted 15-year-old who excelled in school and sports, until his life was derailed by his father's death a year earlier. Johnny relocates to Palm Springs with his mother and her new husband, where everything appears perfect on the surface. But beneath the sunshine and luxury lies a neighborhood full of dark secrets. And as Johnny begins uncovering what's really happening next door, he and his family start to question just how well they know the people around them. The series was created by Kevin Williamson, best known for the Scream franchise, and starred Michael Cassidy, Taylor Handley, Amber Heard.
Who are you?
Johnny?
Sharon Lawrence, Gail O'Grady, and Tessa Thompson in one of her earliest roles. Hidden Palms premiered on May 30th, 2007 on the CW, and immediately struggled, pulling in just 1.6 million viewers. Critics were harsh from the start, with many claiming the show spent far too much time exploring the whiny angst of teens.
I hate you.
I know.
The series also attracted controversy from the Parents Television Council, which criticized the show for inappropriate content aimed at a teenage audience, citing depictions of underage drinking, sex, and parental suicide. Both the pilot and the finale were named the most offensive television programming of their respective broadcast weeks. With low ratings, poor critical reception, and mounting backlash, Hidden Palms was canceled after airing just 8 episodes. Number 5, Moonlight. More than 50 years ago, Mick St. John was turned into a vampire. In present-day Los Angeles, Mick now works as a private investigator, using his supernatural abilities to solve cases, many of which involve the undead, while secretly helping mortals in need. Mick's closest ally is Joseph, his mentor and a powerful vampire with deep connections in the shadowy supernatural world.
You seriously drink this stuff? What is it, like non-fat soy vegan blood?
If you don't like it.
I didn't say that.
You sure?
Get out of here.
Everything changes when a routine case introduces Mick to Beth Turner, a human reporter he feels a need to protect.
You saved me.
As Mick struggles with his growing romantic feelings for Beth, his past comes crashing back into his life in a terrifying way. He encounters a woman who looks identical to his former wife, Coraline, the vampire who turned him, and who was believed to be dead. The series starred Alex O'Loughlin, Sophia Myles, Jason Dohring, and Shannon Sossaman, blending noir detective drama with vampire mythology during the height of supernatural TV's popularity. Moonlight premiered on September 28, 2007 on CBS, with the pilot pulling in a solid 8.5 million viewers. Critics were largely unimpressed, with some outlets even calling it the worst new fall show. Despite that harsh reception, audiences stuck around, and ratings remained consistent throughout the series. On December 4, 2007, CBS officially announced that Moonlight would return for a second season. Unfortunately, the writer's strike brought production to a halt. Momentum was lost, and the series ultimately never returned, ending its run after just one season of 16 episodes. For many fans, Moonlight remains one of the most frustrating cancellations of the era, a show that survived bad reviews, found its audience, and still couldn't escape bad timing. Number 4, Bionic Woman. A modern-day reimagining of the classic 1976 series, Bionic Woman attempted to bring a familiar sci-fi property into a gritty post-Matrix television landscape of the late 2000s. The story followed Jamie Summers, a bartender living in San Francisco whose life is nearly cut short after a devastating car accident. Jamie is saved through a cutting-edge experimental procedure performed by her boyfriend that rebuilds her body with advanced cybernetic replacements.
What have you done to me?
Jamie.
Why did you do this to me?
You were going to die.
With her new reality comes extraordinary strength, speed, and heightened abilities. Suddenly thrust into a world she barely understands, Jamie must learn how to control her powers while figuring out what role she's now expected to play in a shadowy government operation. The series starred Michelle Ryan, alongside Molly Price, Lucy Hale, Kevin Rankin, and Miguel Ferrer. Bionic Woman premiered on September 26, 2007 on NBC, and opened strong with 13.9 million viewers. Unfortunately, the goodwill didn't last. Critics were brutal, arguing that the show focused far more on fembot martial arts and slick Matrix-style special effects than on meaningful character development. Michael Hinman of Sci-Fi Portal flatly called the series a disaster. By the 8th episode, viewership had plunged to just 5.9 million viewers. And like several other shows on this list, Bionic Woman was placed on hiatus during the writer's strike. And with declining ratings and overwhelmingly negative reviews, the series never returned, ending after a single troubled season. Despite the built-in brand recognition, Bionic Woman proved that nostalgia alone wasn't enough, especially when audiences wanted substance over spectacle. Number 3 reigns.
Maybe I read too many detective books when I was a kid. Chandler, Hammett, MacDonald, all the great California guys of the 40s and 50s. I even tried writing a story once. Couldn't get past page 1. Too many decisions. Where do you find the body?
Jeff Goldblum starred as Michael Raines, a brilliant but emotionally fractured LAPD homicide detective who returns to active duty after a shootout that left his partner dead. What set Raines apart was its central hook. During investigations, Raines involuntarily hallucinates the murder victims. These imagined conversations act as sounding boards, helping him work through evidence, motives, and his own unresolved guilt.
Are you her sister or something?
Do you see one of the photographs? I didn't have a sister detective.
The show leaned heavily into psychological drama, blurring the line between intuition, trauma, and detective work. The supporting cast included Matt Craven, Nicole Sullivan, Malik Yoba, Linda Park, and Madeline Stowe. Raines premiered on March 15, 2007 on NBC, pulling in a respectable 10.5 million viewers. Critical reception was mixed. Some critics praised the series for injecting film noir sensibilities into a fast-cut, high-gloss world of network crime dramas, while others dismissed it as a fairly standard detective show with a gimmick. Audiences, however, were generally more positive, responding well to Goldblum's offbeat performance and the show's moody tone. Unfortunately, viewership wasn't strong enough to justify a renewal, and NBC canceled the series after just 7 episodes. In later interviews, Goldblum reflected fondly on the experience, noting that Raines directly led to his starring role on Law & Order: Criminal Intent, a far more successful landing spot. For fans, Raines remains a short-lived curiosity, a show that dared to be a little weird and paid the price for it. Number 2, K-Ville. K-Ville set out to do something few network dramas had attempted at the time: tell a ground-level police story in New Orleans in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, focusing on a city trying to rebuild itself one crime at a time. The series followed New Orleans Police Department officers navigating chaos, corruption, and fractured communities, with the storm's aftermath looming over nearly every storyline. At the center of the show were partners Marlon Boulay, played by Anthony Anderson, and Trevor Cobb, played by Cole Hauser. Two cops with sharply conflicting views on law enforcement, justice, and how to fix a broken city. The cast also included Tawny Cypress and John Carroll Lynch, adding weight and credibility to the ensemble. K-Ville premiered on September 17, 2007 on Fox, drawing 8.9 million viewers for its pilot. Despite a solid start, ratings steadily declined week after week. The show found itself crushed in a brutal time slot, competing directly against Dancing with the Stars on ABC and Heroes on NBC. By its 10th episode, viewership had fallen to just 5.3 million viewers. Before the 11th episode could air, K-Ville was placed on hiatus due to the writer's strike and ultimately never returned. Critically, the series was generally well received, with many praising its atmosphere, performances, and willingness to tackle post-Katrina realities. In hindsight, K-Ville is often cited as another show canceled far too soon, a victim of timing, scheduling, and circumstances beyond its control. Number 1, October Road.
So what have you been up to, man?
You haven't heard?
Heard what? No.
I haven't left this house in 5 years.
5 years.
Brian Greenberg starred as Nick Garrett, a best-selling author struggling with writer's block, who decides to return to his hometown of Knightsbridge, Massachusetts, hoping a change of scenery will help him rediscover his creative spark. What Nick doesn't fully grasp until he arrives is that his success came at a cost. His hit novel was based on the people he grew up with, and he didn't portray them kindly. Back home, Nick is forced to confront old friends, unresolved relationships, and the consequences of telling a story that wasn't entirely his to tell.
Look, Garrett, I ain't gonna ask why you felt the need to drop turds all over your hometown. I mean, that's your business, right?
The series also carried DNA from Scott Rosenberg's earlier show, Going to California from 2001, with several themes and character dynamics recycled and reworked for a network drama. October Road featured a strong ensemble cast, premiering on March 15, 2007 on ABC, pulling in an impressive 13.9 million viewers. The first season ran for just 6 episodes, but ratings were strong enough that ABC ordered a full second season of 13 episodes. Unfortunately, when the show returned in November, viewership had been cut in half, and ABC canceled the series after a total of 19 episodes. In one of the more satisfying post-cancellation stories on the list, the creators refused to leave fans hanging. After hearing the show was canceled, they co-wrote and filmed a 10-minute series finale with the cast. That mini-ending was later released on May 5, 2009, as a special feature on the Season 2 DVD, giving fans long overdue closure. October Road stands as a reminder that even solid ratings and audience goodwill don't always guarantee survival, especially in a crowded TV landscape. As always, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more videos just like this.